It's Tuesday, February 3rd. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Would South Korean submarines come with an industry upgrade for Halifax? New Brunswick unveils a shopping list of options to control its deficit.
Scattered flurries over the next few days with colder temperatures expected by the end of the week.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Competition is ramping up to build Canada's next fleet of submarines. A government delegation is in South Korea as that country and Germany appear to be leading the pack, with each offering benefits for Canada. As CTV's Jonathan McGuinness reports, the South Korean company might be ready to make a significant investment in our region.
The government is ready to spend billions on new submarines for the Royal Canadian Navy.
It's essential. Every naval force is able to operate in the air, on the surface, and under the sea.
Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, or TKMS, and South Korea's Hanwha Ocean have been shortlisted as potential suppliers. Both companies have been busy signing memorandums of understanding with Canadian partners to highlight the economic benefits that come with their respective submissions. According to defense analyst Ken Hansen, as the home of Canada's East Coast Navy, some of those benefits from the Korean bid could be coming to Halifax.
They have submitted a letter of interest for the old Imperial Oil site, where they would build a submarine maintenance facility of some kind, or perhaps even assembly facility.
Premier Tim Houston met with Hanwha officials in late January to discuss Nova Scotia's role in the submarine project. A statement from the Premier's office reads in part, "Maintaining Canada's next fleet of East Coast submarines will mean a substantial infrastructure investment and approximately 700 high-skilled jobs in the province for the next 30 years. On a recent tour of the Hanwha facility in Korea, Canada's Secretary of State for Defence Procurement confirmed any agreement will form a long-term partnership.
Because this has now evolved into a government-to-government situation. It's a big procurement. This is going to be a relationship with the winner for years, decades to come.
Like the French did with the nuclear sub Tourville in March, the Koreans will sail one of their attack subs to Canada this spring. This time, Vancouver will be the destination. And Todd, Hanwha Ocean and TKMS have until March 2nd to submit their final bids. The feds are expected to award this multi-billion-dollar contract by the end of the year. Todd.
John, let's go back to what Ken was referring to a little earlier. You took a drive by the former oil refinery spot today?
Yeah, it's a large property over there, Todd, with direct access, of course, right to the harbor and not too far from the open ocean. Ken Hansen says that would be a pretty good spot to put some type of facility to service Canada's East Coast fleet of submarines. Todd.
All right, John, thank you. Near the Navy dockyards on the Halifax waterfront. And after 6:30, we will speak with naval analyst Ken Hansen about all of this. And CTV News is in South Korea, and you can find that reporting at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Like neighboring maritime provinces, New Brunswick is facing a substantial deficit. The government is considering highway tolls, cuts to the civil service, and increasing fees. As CTV's Laura Brown reports, getting it under control will not be easy or popular.
When we were in opposition, we were always talking about surpluses.
Now, 15 months into his tenure as finance minister, René Legacy is facing a much different forecast.
What are we looking at deficit-wise? How big is it?
We'll be having a review, the Q3 update in a couple of weeks. We're still finalizing the number.
It was almost $835 million in November, and some have predicted it's now over $1 billion. It's high enough to have the province look at its options, ways to save money and make more. Like adding tolls on non-New Brunswick vehicles, increasing certain fees, reduce the civil service, sell or close some government assets like schools with fewer than 100 students, and secure money owed to the province like student loans. There are 12 options listed, but the minister wants to hear from New Brunswickers, their thoughts on these ideas, and if they have new ones.
And the realization is if we're already 850 million short and everybody is still suffering, we need to look at things differently. We need to find a way, and that's the whole point of the exercise. We have aspirations to do something differently. We just need to find a means.
And I would say one of the benefits New Brunswick has is that its economic situation isn't quite as challenging as some of the others.
This economist says most of the country is also struggling with an unforgiving economy. But in recent years, New Brunswick has wrestled its debt to GDP ratio from over 40% to a low of 25%, a critical move to survive times like these.
And they're already getting ahead of this and saying we want to make sure that we're addressing this issue before it becomes a major problem in the future and they get back to the debt levels they had before.
New Brunswickers have until February 20th to share their thoughts online or through a letter directed to the minister. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Well, we'd like to know what you would do. The CTV web poll, we're asking what should your province do to combat rising deficit, ultimately the debt. You can cut the public service, increase fees and reduce services, raise taxes, or perhaps you do nothing. We'd like your input at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. The Jansen Baker double murder trial is now into its second month. Baker is accused of killing 2 Dieppe seniors back in 2019. CTV's Derek Haggett is covering the trial for us from Moncton Court.
The jury heard from a member of the RCMP's major crime unit who testified she conducted surveillance on several people in the Moncton area before and following the murders of Bernard and Rosemarie Saunier. The Crown called Constable Melissa Cormier, who testified about her role in J Trilogy, a police operation that resulted in multiple arrests on August 28, 2019, 10 days before the murders. Drugs and firearms were seized from several homes, including this duplex on Dominion Street in Moncton. Jesse Logue, who was under surveillance by the RCMP, was one of the people arrested. His name came up in testimony a number of times today. Court previously heard that Silvio Saunier, son of Bernard and Rosemarie, owned the property on Dominion and was involved in the drug trade. During the Crown's opening statements last month, the jury was told Silvio's associates believed he was a police informant. Baker has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Rosemarie and her husband, Bernard Saunier. Both were shot in the head and killed on September 7, 2019. During the afternoon session, court heard phone conversations recorded by RCMP between Logue and others while he was incarcerated, just days following the police raids. Logue sounded very frustrated with the situation and extremely angry with Silvio Saunier. Court will return tomorrow. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
A call to 911 yesterday about people being swept off the rocks at Peggy's Cove sparked a large and swift rescue response. It turned out to be false, which is raising questions about the impact on emergency services. Here's CTV's Hafsa Araf.
The ocean at Peggy's Cove is beautiful and unforgiving. So when 2 people vanished from the webcam view yesterday, emergency crews weren't taking any chances.
Halifax Regional Fire, we had 2 apparatus on scene, involved 10 personnel, and again, we worked with our partners, other resources, air and water. Including
Coast Guard, police, and search and rescue all rushed to the scene, launching a large-scale ground, air, and water search. Among the first to hear about it was John Campbell.
So I got a phone call from my daughter saying that she had heard that the fire department were on their way to the Southwester because a couple people had fallen into the ocean.
He arrived soon after.
There's no cars that weren't accounted for. There were some tourists here. There was a group of 3 people that had been out in the rocks, and they had been out in the rocks for 40 minutes in the lighthouse area and hadn't seen anything.
The concern was real because the water was rough, and this is a place where people have fallen before. But in this case, after an hour, crews were confident no one had gone into the water. The search was called off.
We were able to determine through a webcam, which initiated the call, that these 2 individuals had carried on and worked or walked beyond the lighthouse and carried on and left the vicinity.
And even though this turned out to be a false alarm which required a full-scale response, emergency officials say calls like this are never a waste.
We've had people fall in the water there, and the video footage was credible. So we want to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to rule out the fact that any individual did fall in the water.
No one was hurt, but officials say it's better to be safe than sorry. Hafsa Araf, CTV News, Halifax.
It's nearly 36 hours now since a woman was killed by a snowplow in Truro. She's being remembered as warm and friendly by all who knew her. As CTV's Callum Smith tells us, the community is coming together, raising funds to support her family.
In the town of Truro, the cliche, everybody knows everybody, rings true. In this case, it was Tina Clyke, who everyone knew and adored.
She just smiled all the time. She loved life. She loved people.
She's a very nice lady.
Very nice.
You could never ask for a better person. She has a soul that's just, she'd do anything for anybody.
Since her death, more than $40,000 has been donated to her family.
We are overwhelmed by the community support that everybody has shown Tina and her family. Millbrook First Nations, downtown businesses, friends, family. Tina would not believe all the support that's going on right now for her.
A testament to who she was.
When you walked away from Tina, you walked away smiling. And that is just an absolute compliment to the person that she is. That's how she's going to be remembered, for her kindness, her selflessness, and making people feel better about themselves. That was her.
At the local Sobeys, where she worked for over 2 decades, customers and co-workers only left with memories. Her place of work a stone's throw from where she was struck. The collision happened at about 6:30 Monday morning during the snow and windy conditions. Police say Clyke was walking through this parking lot when a private snowplow operator backed into her. She died in hospital, and police said it's not being investigated as criminal, rather a tragic accident. A statement from her employer says, quote, "Our entire team is devastated. Our focus is on supporting our teammates' family and the local store through this crisis. Her loss already being felt inside."
Today I just missed her so bad. When I walked in there, I looked forward, she wasn't there.
I want the community to know that we appreciate all the support from everybody, her friends, her family, her work. We couldn't make it through this without the support that everybody has given us and the support and love that they've given to Tina.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Truro.
It's been a busy stretch for the Moncton Fire Department, responding to 2 serious fires just blocks apart within a 48-hour span. One left more than a dozen people without a place to live. CTV's Josh Smith has the details.
Over the past 2 days, Moncton firefighters were called to back-to-back fires in close proximity.
It's been a challenging 2 days for us. Fires are always challenging, but at this time of year, they're extra challenging. We have narrow streets and cold temperatures, and cold and water don't mix.
The first fire broke out on Sunday night on Robinson Street. A house split into multiple apartments.
There were 14 residents in the building, which is kind of an unassuming building to have that many people in it, so that was kind of a surprise to us. The building suffered extensive damage, so those people needed alternate accommodations, and we were able to call the Red Cross in for that.
A neighbor stepped in immediately, taking in a family of 9 who escaped the fire, many of them children.
They were about to go to sleep, so they were just in their pajamas. They had bare feet on, like tank tops, shorts, and they came running out in the snow.
She says the situation could have been a lot worse, and she is concerned for the family.
I am really worried about them because it's the winter time. There's 9 of them. Most of them are under the age of 16.
Less than a day later, firefighters were back at work again, this time responding to a fire on Lute Street. Officials say the cause is still under investigation.
The fire on Lute Street, 1 occupant was treated on scene and transported to hospital with undetermined injuries.
Fire officials say situations like this are a reminder of how quickly fires can escalate, especially during winter conditions. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
That's Yarmouth right now, where it is just 1 degree below zero. Let's bring in CTV meteorologist Kayla Mitchell. I know we're looking at the ice there on the water, but we're going to talk about snow.
Yeah, there were a couple areas of the Maritimes I didn't really have final snowfall totals for yesterday because there was still some snow falling and accumulating. That does include a few parts of Cape Breton. Sydney looks like it finished around 31 centimeters of snow. A few additional reports came in as well. West Porter's Lake picked up about 30 centimeters of snow. And one report at Pictou County, Kensieville, 30 37 centimeters. It's not here on the map either, but we talked about it yesterday. Parts of Newfoundland getting hit hard by that storm. St. John's Airport reporting 45 centimeters of snow with that weather system. Current conditions now heading into the Maritimes. Temperatures are now beginning to fall, headed down below freezing across the region by a few degrees in most cases, already turning colder than that, up around the west of New Brunswick with some temperatures around -6 to -10 there at Edmundston. Winds right now are generally light and variable in direction around the region. As we move through tonight, there's a chance some patchy fog or a little bit of patchy freezing drizzle. Current wind speeds about 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. A lot of cloud cover in place already for Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, and there'll be some increase in cloudiness as we move through tonight for the province of New Brunswick, along with a chance of some patchy freezing drizzle tonight. It's mostly for Prince Edward Island and around the eastern coastline of New Brunswick, the north and east of Nova Scotia. There's also lower chance of some flurries for a few parts of the Maritimes. So for tomorrow, flurries and some light snow is going to become a little bit more widespread, and there's the potential of actually seeing some accumulation in that snow, especially for western areas of Nova Scotia. Following that, still looking at temperatures getting colder towards the end of this week, and I will have those details coming up later in the extended forecast, Todd.
Okay, we will see you in a few minutes' time. Thank you, Caitlin. They can't build homes fast enough in much of the Maritimes. We've reported on that quite a bit. In an effort to make it more affordable, Nova Scotia is rolling out a long-promised plan to help first-time buyers. Here's CTV's Jesse Thomas with those details.
Housing Minister John White made good on the 2024 campaign promise the PC party made to help first-time home buyers break into the housing market, something he's heard many Nova Scotians feel locked out of.
And home ownership has been slipping away. We hear that from 20, 30-year-olds, that home ownership is gone, and they really want that back. And this is an opportunity to bring that back to them.
The announcement was made at the downtown Halifax Credit Union. They'll administer the program that allows eligible buyers to purchase their first home with as little as 2% down. In Halifax and East Hants municipalities, the incentive applies to homes priced up to $570,000 and up to $500,000 everywhere else.
$570,000 in Halifax is tight. It is. There's no doubt about that. Outside of Halifax, it's really not. $500,000 will easily get a first-time home.
There are other conditions, like households can earn no more than $200,000 per year and hold a minimum credit rating score of 630.
Yeah, just
on
across
paper, this Halifax realtor says the program could help renters stuck paying huge monthly costs.
This will hopefully allow people with that high rent just to save that 2%, and rather than pay rent, you know, build equity in their mortgage.
When asked, the minister couldn't explain why the $570,000 threshold was chosen, a price that's well below the average asking price on the Halifax Peninsula. But province-wide, according to Realtor data, more than 2,000 homes were listed or sold below the $570,000 mark last year.
I think living on the peninsula itself is kind of a luxury, right? So you're just going to have to maybe make that sacrifice and move just on the outskirts.
The East Coast Credit Union expects strong interest in the program, particularly those who feel stuck paying high rents.
We see a huge need. We see more people than ever that are actually paying higher rent than what their actual mortgage payment could technically be.
Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Everybody loves a parade. Or do they? For the second year in a row, the Halifax St. Patrick's Day Parade has been canceled. Is it just a case of bad luck? CTV's Emma Convey spoke with the organizers.
A march down memory lane for historian Blair Bede as he thinks back to the early days of Halifax's St. Patrick's Day Parade.
At St. Patrick's Church in Halifax, their band established in 1847. And that right away they started marching up and down the streets because it was a way to say we're here, we're different, we're proud.
Bede says about 40% of the population of Halifax has an Irish connection, and their history is seen throughout the city. He's sad to see the parade that celebrates those roots canceled this year.
I used to put a float in with St. Patrick's Church and we would get together, and not everybody was Irish in our community, but we walked, and it was a great chance just to be out in the public having fun.
March 15th would have been the 15th year for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, but for the second year in a row, it's not happening.
Before we laid out further expenditures, billboards, the beads, all of that stuff, we had to make the decision that the numbers don't
add up.
In past years, the parade would have 35 to 40 floats. From the Irish Wolfhounds, the Charitable Irish Society, to dancers. Last year, they canceled due to waiting on the city for the permits. This year, it came down to lack of entries.
Less people wanting to participate, and if the weather's going to be that cold, we have entrants that might not show up or cancel at the last minute, and we really needed a solid number in order to make this work, and we just weren't there.
A lot of time, money, and planning goes into the parade. The committee hopes next year others will step in to help.
Frankly, we need fresh blood within our committee. We're 12, 13, 14-year volunteers, so we'd like to see the youngsters of the city take over that really enjoy St. Patrick's Day, and let's get this parade where it's supposed to be.
The plan is for it to return next year, but they say they need the public's help to make it happen. Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Still to come on your Tuesday newscast, Kayla Mitchell has some flurries in the forecast, but first, boot camp for political candidates. We'll learn about a program designed to encourage and educate potential local politicians. Maybe that's you. Stay with us. If you've ever considered running for elected office, this next report is for you. Some municipalities are offering programs to encourage and educate anyone who might want to run for local council. And CTV's Nick Moore tells us there are plenty of roles up for grabs.
Now we have to go back to the poll worker.
It is training day at Elections NB for returning officers and election clerks who will be working this May's local government vote.
They play a very significant role in the administration of the election.
Chief Electoral Officer Kim Poffenroth says her office has also been offering information to people who are thinking about putting their name on a ballot.
We have been receiving calls since well before Christmas. It's a little bit different than in a provincial election where you'll have political parties that will be out recruiting candidates, and they'll play a significant role in educating their potential candidates. But we take on a bigger role in that respect for local government elections.
3 communities are approaching the spring election under the control of an unelected provincial supervisor. Resignations left the local councils in Strait Shores, Sunbury York South, and Miramichi River Valley without quorum. The Local Governance Commission of New Brunswick has recommended that training be mandatory for municipal councillors on everything from fiscal management to decorum. The City of Fredericton will offer a voluntary week in the life of a councillor training program for potential candidates beginning February 17th. Jennifer Lawson is a city clerk at Fredericton City Hall.
We're trying to find ways to increase people's understanding of what happens at City Hall, and also to give people an opportunity who were running to make sure that they made an informed decision as to what actually goes on here.
Dan Murphy is director of the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick and says such training opportunities can only lead to a more informed candidate.
Helping folks understand what it is that it means to be a local government official, whether that's as a councillor or a mayor. It'll help folks decide whether it's the right step for them, whether they can commit to it, and to give them an appreciation for what the job is.
Election Day is May 11th. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
Still to come, we have a few flurries, some light snow in the forecast for tomorrow. Kayla Mitchell will let us know where all that's going to fall. Next. We're just going to let this video run. This is a great vantage point, isn't it? A review this afternoon of Low Point Lighthouse in New Victoria, Cape Breton.
That's awesome.
Put a little music behind that, and there you go.
Yeah.
Tourism department in Cape Breton, it's all set there for you.
That just screams Maritimes, doesn't it?
Sure does. And that would sell even in the wintertime.
Yeah, we can see the white caps of the breaking waves there on the shore, and then just kind of blending into the snow that's on the shoreline.
And a bit of blue sky to boot.
Yeah, that was nice to see, certainly. Peaks of some blue sky, a little bit of sunshine for parts of Nova Scotia today, but more cloud cover there. Sunniest conditions stay in the province of New Brunswick. We'll get back to our forecast in the Maritimes in a moment. Let's take a quick look, though, at weather conditions across the country. And there is a fresh round of polar air primed to start breaking its way southward over the upcoming days. Eventually, it's going to filter or make its way towards us by the end of this week and the upcoming weekend. Temperatures turning a little bit colder. Right now, though, it's still all bottled up in the north. So Yellowknife sitting in -21, but you can see Fort McMurray in the north of Alberta sitting at -5 right now. Saskatoon at -1, Regina sitting at -2. It is colder in Manitoba with Winnipeg at -13. Moving off towards the east, speaking of cold, Iqaluit right now reporting some snow and sitting at -22. In Ontario, we have some snow being reported at Sudbury sitting at -12. Toronto and Ottawa both at -6. -1 at Montreal right now, -9 at Quebec City. Up in Labrador, it's -11 at Labrador City. Happy Valley, Goose Bay reporting clear conditions and sitting at -10. At St. John's, -4. I'm sure they're cleaning up after their big snow event. And here in the Maritimes right now, it's -3 at Charlottetown, -2 at Halifax, and -3 at Fredericton. The clearest conditions still being reported in New Brunswick, though there will be some increasing cloudiness there tonight. So taking a look at our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, either cloudy or with some increasing cloudiness tonight. There is a chance some spotty flurries or a little bit of patchy freezing drizzle tonight. But tomorrow, a band of some snow expected to arrive in over the Gulf of Maine into the southwest of the Maritimes Wednesday morning between around 7 and 9 a.m. The snow will be showing up first for areas like Campobello and Grand Manan in the southwest of New Brunswick, and then parts of Digby, Yarmouth, and Shelburne counties. Now, this band of snow will continue to work its way from that southwest position a little bit further towards the northeast, going from the morning into the afternoon, with some light snow reaching the St. John area where there could be some accumulations, so up to around a few centimeters, and an area of snow and flurries stretching across the Annapolis Valley, moving up the South Shore and in towards Halifax, where it's expected to arrive by around the mid to late afternoon, ongoing into the evening. In fact, for Wednesday evening, this band of flurries and snow will be set up from the southwest of Nova Scotia all the way up through the Annapolis Valley, around the Minas Basin, Halifax County, and into areas of the eastern shore. There could be some accumulations in this snow of around 1 to 5 centimeters locally, maybe a little bit more than that in some of the higher terrain around the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia. It is a lower chance of lighter flurries for both Prince Edward Island and much of New Brunswick for tomorrow. Though remember, some of that snow is expected to brush in to coastal areas of the southwest from Grand Manan, where you can see a possible 1 to 5 centimeters of snow there towards the St. John area. I know that's saying trace, but for St. John, maybe up to a few centimeters of snow possible tomorrow as well. Winds in the forecast for tomorrow, variable in direction in the afternoon, still mostly out of the north for much of New Brunswick and sustained between around 5 and 10 kilometers per hour. For a period of time, though, southerly for both Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia, and mostly sustained between 10 and 20 there, maybe a few gusts up between 20 and 30. Low temperatures in the forecast for the region for tonight for many areas, falling a few to several degrees below zero, but colder than that across much of the northern half of New Brunswick, with some lows between -15 and -20. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow, -1 to -6 for communities in the north of New Brunswick, with central and southern parts of the province with high temperatures mostly between -1 and -4. Colder at Heartland near -7. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures right around -1 for most communities. In the east of Nova Scotia, high temperatures in the range around -1 to +1. And for northern and central parts of that province, high temperatures tomorrow, similar range between -1 and +1. And into the southwest of Nova Scotia, the Annapolis Valley with highs around 1 degree, 0 at Digby, and on the south shore of Nova Scotia, highs between 0 and 2 degrees. In the extended forecast for New Brunswick, there's the colder air moving in, especially during the nights towards the end of this week. Still holding on to a chance of snow on Saturday, though it's looking more and more likely like it might just end up being some flurries. There'll be a chance of flurries, colder temperatures to follow for Sunday and Monday, and Tuesday a mix of sun and cloud. For Nova Scotia in the forecast, temperatures do get colder towards the end of this week, especially during the nights and first thing in the morning. Holding on to that chance of snow on Saturday, and then some flurries follow with colder temperatures on both Sunday and Monday, and then cloudy periods on Tuesday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island in the outlook, coming up on Thursday, some flurries in the forecast. Friday, a mix of sun and cloud, highs for around -4. Chance of snow on Saturday, followed by flurries and colder temperatures for the end of the weekend. And the start of next week, a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday. Todd.
But no nor'easter next Monday.
So far, so good.
That's great. We'll take that. And we'll see you later for the Wake Up Weather. Next, we're going to talk about submarines, ships, opportunities for industry growth on the East Coast. Stay with us.
Okay, so coming up tomorrow, 7 a.m., get that keyword, chance to win $100,000 from Virgin Radio's $100,000 Destroy Your Debt.
And get another chance at $100 to Bikini Village. That's around 7:30. Good luck.
Welcome back on this Tuesday evening. We talked about this at the top of the show. Now we want to delve a little deeper into the submarine procurement bid and what it could mean for the defense industry sector here on the East Coast. Ken Hansen is a defense analyst and researcher, and he joins us from Dartmouth. Always good to see you, Ken.
Hey, Todd. Glad to be with you.
Let me start with this. The South Korean firm and a German firm appear to be the top contenders to build Canada's next fleet of submarines, the number being bandied about as a dozen. Does that seem to jive with you from what you're hearing?
Yes, I think so. There are differences between the proposals, and the other thing the government is after is also industrial incentives for the automobile industry.
Okay.
Either Volkswagen or Hyundai.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. The Secretary of State for Procurement is in South Korea. Do we read anything into that? Could, you know, the advantage be to South Korea right now?
I assume so from that fact, but my assumptions may not be worth anything. So.
Listen, from what you know of the sub designs, is there a standout at this point? Is there one that you like over another?
The Korean submarine is larger. And what I'm concerned about principally is if we're going to be building these submarines for probably 20 plus years, we have to be able to adapt them to the new developments in warfare. And of course, I'm thinking principally here of drones in Ukraine-Russia war, which have become integral to how that conflict is being fought. And every military arm and every military platform is going to have some capacity to operate drones.
Okay. The subs will live most likely in Halifax and Esquimalt, Victoria on the other side of the country, but is this largely for Arctic patrols? I mean, we've got obviously the Pacific and the Atlantic coast, but so much attention is being focused on the Arctic, and you know, whichever design wins, are they going to be able to stay underwater for long periods of time?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Both submarine designs have what's called air-independent propulsion, that they are able to stay underwater for a good 2 to 3 weeks, as I understand it. With the Swedish submarine or the German submarine design having more in the way of that capability. The Hyundai submarine, the Korean one, is larger, conventionally shaped for a submarine, and is designed for will be more suitable for open ocean operations.
Okay, long
distance.
Let's go back to what you mentioned earlier, and that's about this idea of benefits, and whoever offers the most investment in Canada will probably have the advantage. Yeah. What are you hearing on that front? What kind of perks could, let's focus primarily on the East Coast. What kind of perks could we possibly see on this coast, depending on whichever bid wins?
Yeah, so there was the announcement yesterday of the very heavy steel overhead crane that's being put in Algoma with Korean money. So those cranes are needed because the density of the steel that's used to produce the hulls, so they can dive deep into the pressure of the ocean, has to be very dense and it's very heavy. So that's an indicator that they're already working on something. And then what I was hearing today was that the Korean delegation was very receptive and open to the idea of car plant in Canada or some kind of facilities. They have a huge facility in Georgia, in the United States, and the current political environment they find to be really bad for business. So they are actually talking about the possibility of moving to a more stable business environment.
And
in addition to that...
Yeah, on the East Coast, do you see anything?
On the East Coast, there's talk about the Korean company going after the old Imperial Oil site. I gather they've put a retainer of some kind to hold the property until the decision is taken. So that would mean maintenance, repair, servicing, spare parts, all that sort of thing here on the East Coast.
And we're looking at pictures where the old Esso refinery was, Eastern Passage, Dartmouth area. That's what you're referring to.
Correct.
Yeah.
That, again, is just something I've heard.
Yeah, and they're also talking about perhaps building torpedoes in Canada as well, so that would be interesting. Look, Ken, before I let you go, it's kind of interesting. There's been some speculation. The Navy is seeing a large build-out. We're seeing the River-class ships will be built next. Anyone who crosses the bridges in Halifax can see that the naval docks are getting pretty full. Add in 6 submarines perhaps. The Navy's going to need space. We've heard that Casino in Nova Scotia is leaving the waterfront. It's right next door. Would it make sense for the Canadian Navy to try to get a hold of that space?
They're going to be looking at whatever is available. I could see that being a logical site to pursue. However, there are other potential spots. I mean, the Navy has waterfront real estate underneath the Dartmouth Bridge, which is just a grassy gravel area.
Okay.
And they have the ammunition depot further back in the Bedford Basin. So they actually already own property there as well. So depending what the price is, depending on how much the shipbuilder is going to put into this, anything's possible.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll certainly watch for that. There's a lot going on, and it's going to be played out for the next several years, so possibly good things for the East Coast, and we appreciate your insight as always, Ken. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you're very welcome. Glad to be with you.
We'll take a time out. We'll be right back.
February is Black History Month, recognizing Willie O'Ree. Willie O'Ree was a pioneering hockey player from New Brunswick who became the first black player in the National Hockey League. Despite racism and adversity, he helped open the door to greater inclusion in professional hockey.
Katie Kelly's on assignment tonight, but she'll be back in the studio with us tomorrow. But we do have entertainment news. She left something behind for us. Young performers got the chance to step into the spotlight as part of the Dartmouth Ice Festival. And as Katie shows us, there was plenty of support from the community and a Juno Award-winning musician.
It's another year of the Dartmouth Ice Festival, one of the most fun events, and one of my favorite nights is always this one. It's the Youth Showcase. I'm joined by Nick Pettipaw, who is pretty much the guy that makes this whole thing happen. Nick, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Can you just explain where we are and what happens on this night?
Well, we gather tonight in the Christ Church here, and we put on some fun show for everybody with local youth performers and a special guest tonight, Rhea May.
Amazing. So how many performers and what is sort of the theme of the night?
Sure. There's 10 performers, all under the age of 17, and the theme is Icon Night. So they all selected an influential icon that helped influence their music.
Amazing. And what is Rhea May's role in all of this?
Rhea May is kind of like our co-host. Well, you're co-host tonight, and she's going to share some of her new music too at the end of the night with us, and so she's kind of a special music guest tonight where we're really lucky.
Excellent, excellent. So you talked about the amazing youth, and I've got one of them right next to me, Anna Sampson. I've been hosting this event for a while, and you've been here every time. So you've been singing since you were how old, Anna?
I think I was like 10 or 11 when I first started at the Ice Festival.
Wow, amazing. And what do you like about being able to perform, especially in front of a crowd like this?
Well, I feel like it really helps with your confidence, first of all, and it's just a really good environment, like talking with the performers backstage and just like being here in general.
What do you think about the fact that Rhea May is going to be here? Are you a little nervous to sing in front of her?
A little bit, but it's really exciting because I really love her music, and I've seen her in concert once, and I'm really excited to hopefully be able to talk to her and meet her.
Awesome. And what song are you going to be performing?
I'm singing How Will I Know by Whitney Houston.
Ooh, and what made you pick that one?
Well, I really just love the song in general, but I'm doing it a bit more slowed down, like a ballad, so you can really like hear the emotion in the lyrics.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, I know you're going to kill it. I've seen you perform before, and you always do. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Anna. This is so cool. You're going to want to check this out next year if you missed it this year. Or you can see a lot of these performers at this year's Trunk 7 Music Festival happening in Porters Lake this July.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Here's what's on CTV tonight.
With Aaron and Peter.
Hey, we are live from beaches, Turks and Caicos for Password to Paradise.
We have 19 more trips left to give away, and it could be your name we call out tomorrow.
On the markets, the Dow ended the day down 166 points, and one of Canada's biggest banks has to pay a big fine. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has the details.
BMO is being dinged $4 billion by the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada. The agency says the bank was charging clients monthly fees that should have been waived. Over 100,000 customers were affected between 2010 and 2024. BMO's already issued more than $3 million in refunds. The watchdog says the bank received more than 500 customer complaints about the fees, but was negligent in detecting the error. BMO says it holds itself to the highest standards of conduct. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 73.34. West Texas Intermediate is up over $1 to 63.21. Western Canadian Select is down over $3 to 47 flat. And the TSX gained 204 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kayla Mitchell is outside, and it is chilly.
Yeah, it's a little bit chilly, but I mean, hey, it's a February evening, so pretty nice one. You know, the wind's not too strong, so that helps out a lot this time of the year, that's for sure. Let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. This is a beautiful shot. It's coming in from Reed and Deanna Ross, sent in from Digby, Nova Scotia. Look at that. We've got that sort of moonlit sky over top of the harbor there. Lots of ships there at the dock. Let's take a look at the forecast for Digby for tomorrow, and it is some snow expected. Periods of light snow, morning and afternoon, and there may be some accumulations of around 1 to 5 centimeters. High temperature near 0 degrees. The day planner for tomorrow for the Maritime, so that snow starts around the southwest of Nova Scotia and coastal areas of the southwest of New Brunswick Wednesday morning, but then we'll move into other areas of Nova Scotia throughout the day. So for the afternoon, you can expect some periods of snow to be present, basically for the western half of Nova Scotia, including Halifax and then extending all the way down through the South Shore and the Annapolis Valley. Chance of flurries for other parts of the Maritimes. Most of the afternoon high temperatures will come up to a range for around -4 to 0. Might be a few communities that get just above the freezing mark. Remains a little bit colder in the northwest of New Brunswick. Let's find out what's ahead on your Morning Atlantic.
Wednesday on your Morning Atlantic, the East Pointers.
The Prince Edward Island Band is celebrating a new album, and they're heading out on tour with Alan Doyle. They'll join us for a chat.
Start your mornings with us Wednesday on your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
And finally for us tonight, a chance to own a piece of one of the biggest sci-fi shows in television history. Memorabilia from the popular British series Doctor Who is up for auction this month. More than 300 lots spanning different series are on offer in the online auction, which runs from now until the 19th of February. Doctor Who travels through time, of course, in the TARDIS, that thing there. It's a blue police telephone box. A number of now famous actors have played the role since the series was first broadcast by the BBC back in 1963. The items all have a starting price of around £100, close to $200, and part of the build proceeds will go to charity. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco will be in this chair at 11:30, and CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has updates anytime and our poll. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you right back here for the midweek edition tomorrow night. Till then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.